Hi, so I'm Abby, the maths tutor, and today I'm here with Kate Heathcote, who is an English tutor in Lancaster.
Mhm.
So, Kate, I think am I right in thinking that your tuition is quite specialised?
It is. It's because it's turned out like that. I sort of started off just being an English tutor to anybody, and then what's happened is generally most people who come to me are people who have problems with dyslexia, other processing issues, on people who are on the spectrum. And I think up until this year, the last couple of years, everybody I've had has ended up having those kind of issues. Um, I think that's why they need the extra help. Unfortunately, I just don't think the education system at the moment can support those kind of people at school. So I'm either getting children who are still at school, they're struggling, or they have actually dropped out of school and they're having difficulties because they're having such bad difficulties, and then they've ended up coming to me that way. Um, yeah, I'm not really having a go at the schools in any way. I just think they haven't got the time or the resources to be able to support people in that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean there are children that schools just doesn't work for, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, when you withdraw your child from mainstream education, you have to agree that you know that that means you're not going to be part of the funding
Mm,
anymore.
yeah.
How does that work then when people don't have access to this funding and now they're thinking they can't teach their child themselves, they need some specialist help? Does it get really expensive, or are there ways that they can get hold of some funding?
I think it's difficult. I think it is difficult to get extra help. Um, Once you are out of the system and you've chosen to homeschool, I've literally just been speaking to somebody from an organisation called SOS SEN, and they support people getting educational healthcare plans. You have to get an educational healthcare plan in place while you're still in the education system. It's very, very difficult to get it out once you're outside. So ideally, if you think your child will be happier and they're not at school and you're absolutely sure about that, then it's probably worthwhile taking your child out and homeschooling them. But I think if you are taking them out because you don't know what else to do, I don't think it's a great idea straight away to do that. It's worth investigating and finding out, and getting some support and help from various different SEN charities about how you would go about pushing to get an educational healthcare plan. Because if you can have that in place, then you can be in control of the money that gets spent, and then you can choose how to spend that money.
So when you say you can choose how to spend that money, would it be a case of they're still on roll at the school, but the school understands that they might be flexi-schooled, just part-time at the school, use money for tutors?
Yes. So I think that really varies from school to school and from area to area. But, I say, for example, I'm teaching a girl who's flexi schooling. I sort of tutored her right when we first started doing that. She'd been in a school for a long time, and I think it was year 11 by the time they just realised it just wasn't working. And then she carried on doing some of her GCSEs at school, and she did English with me. She struggled with GCSE, so we did functional skills, and made life so much easier for her because she was not having all the lights and the sounds and the shock of being at school, and it was just quiet at home with no interruptions, and I could just take loads of time with her, and we could just take things really, really slowly with no pressure, and that worked brilliantly. So that is possible if the school is going to support you in
The
doing that.
school's got to agree to the flexi schooling, haven't they? And I think
Mhm.
it's amazing when they do. So, thinking of my own children, I know I have a son who I had to withdraw from mainstream
Mm.
education. And I think I knew that if I stuck at it for a long while, then I might be able to get things in place that would support him. But it was tearing our family apart,
Yes.
just the state that he was in, the anxiety levels. And I knew from having my teacher hat on and seeing other people navigate the system, it was a
Yeah,
case of it will be possible to get somewhere with what we need, but I'm not sure my mental states will take waiting out that long.
no.
So I ended up just pulling him, and he goes to an online school now, which it's such a transformation. It's amazing for him. But because I pulled him before we went down the educational healthcare plan line, it means that we've got to self-fund that.
Right, so you have to pay everything for the online school.
We have to pay everything. I mean, I was discussing it with my son last night and just asking him about his mental states and saying, look, the bill for your online school, it's nothing compared to the difference that it's made to you. You know, the difference in him is priceless. You can't put a limit on it. He's just a totally different child. But wouldn't it be amazing if that could have been provided in school?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and we just couldn't. But for people who can, where they are coping in school and they just know they need something a bit different, if they can get that diagnosis, well, it's not a diagnosis, is it? They have a they. It's putting the fight forward to get that healthcare plan.
And
So
that's hard, isn't it? That's hard getting the
it is
educational healthcare.
hard. It is so tiring for the whole family when you know that your child needs that extra help. And I know for myself, it's like every single day you've got this problem in your head that you're wondering how you'll solve and how you'll get through a day at a time and what it will be like. And it's how much staying power you have.
Yes, and I think you're right, and I think it can cause long term. It's harmful. A lot of it can cause long term harm to your family and your child's mental health. I think waiting to try and solve that situation. And I have had a parent say to me, "My daughter's going. She's been in primary school, so she is autistic, and she has been fairly kind of supported but in primary school. Now she's in interaction transition phase, and she says, I'm kind of waiting for it to fail. And we have to wait for it to fail, and then we can apply for the educational healthcare plan to show that the school can't manage and can't work on their own. But that's not
That's so
really
sad
awful
because
for a
you're
family to be
waiting.
facing that,
Yeah,
isn't
you're
it? So
waiting for a failure, and that failure comes with pain. That failure comes with an
yes, a
awful lot of
lot.
pain, and it causes more damage. And it means that when you start to pick up the pieces, you're in a worse place than you were beforehand, but you then might possibly have access to some funding.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Which
it's a
is
balancing act for
quite
everybody, isn't
important.
it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
it's
But
such
it's a
hard
horrible
work.
dilemma.